Okay, so I'm going to take a little pause from my gaming here to talk about something that uh, has been irking me for a while. And the thing is that I'm playing here. I'm playing World of Warcraft, and then usually I'll put a video on the side on something I want to listen to, or hear an update about, or whatever. Just maybe to have some extra noise in the background, right? And right now I was watching a pretty cool video, about economy and stuff like that. And it seems like there's this new company called Ground News, and they seem to be advertising basically everywhere. Like, there's sometimes I watch political videos, but honestly, I try to stay away from those because it's just the same shit. But I still just click on them to have something in the background. Or economical, I'm really into economics and stuff like that, and markets and stuff. All sorts of different like science topics and whatever. And it's like anywhere I go, any video I watch, these friggin' people from Ground News are just friggin' everywhere. Everybody is talking to them. That and NordVPN, right? We all know the same uh, advertisers, Squarespace, NordVPN. Who else is like notoriously just on YouTube, like in the video, not a commercial that pops up. So it got me thinking. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna pause my gaming here for a second, and we're gonna talk about these people. Where I pulled it up here. This Ground News, right? So basically, the whole gist about Ground News, if you haven't heard about them, is that they're basically like a news aggregator of the world, right? Every single place, and they will, like it says here, it'll say if it's left leaning, if it's right leaning, get away, or if it's center, right? And they're like, hey, get your news from us because we'll give you the spin or whatever. So right off the bat, it's irking because like I can tell when something is either biased one way or another. I think I enough intelligent to know, which way. Like they say, like I say in my mother tongue, which side the iguana chews on, right? Which side do you chew on? And so, okay, fine, whatever. So they'll just put it, clean out there, just a marker of you don't have to even do any thinking. But what got me is that they're like, oh, see how everybody else is. They're selling it as, oh, well, the world, how they see this stuff. And what triggered me, or what got me thinking, is like, you know what? I've been talking a lot with my family, my sister and my brother, and other family members. Is that we are too saturated with news, especially rage baity stuff that really isn't news. It's just there to like get your attention. And you know what? We need to start cutting that out. And I have to make a little video here saying, honestly, a lot of these things that are happening in the world, you have very little input in. It's like there's not much you can really do, other than like core things that you're really passionate about. Like you could probably have a little bit of input in. But honestly, a lot of this stuff is just noise. It's just clutter, and you need to get to the signal of what moves you, right? So take away all that chaff and just go after what you want. If you like, food or video games or movies or whatever, then have your feed, right, of those things. We don't need this garbage of, in this case, Ground News just dumping you more stuff. And what happens is that all this stuff just takes away from your time. I've been rather culpable of using TikTok a lot as like a numbing thing, just to like, oh my, I'm bored or whatever, or I'm antsy, or I have anxiety or whatever, and let me just get on TikTok. And that just really consumes your time a lot. I'm guilty of it doing when I go to sleep. Sometimes I'll be on there for like an hour, possibly even two. I can't admit to anything more than that. but it's just like something just like I don't know. It's just how I got into the grips of that. But thankfully, particularly my brother's like, hey, you should get away from that stuff. And thanks to him, I've been starting to read again. And I used to love to read, honestly. We'd go as kids to the library. If you don't remember, there's in America, there's such a thing called the library. I'm pretty sure in many places there's libraries. But it's free. Well, we pay for it with our taxes, right? But basically, it's free. You go in and you get a book and you can read it, and it can be about anything that you want, right? So, for instance, I had bought this book. How long did I buy this book? I think I bought it like in the pandemic. It's this book right here. It's Anthony Bourdain, and I had always wanted to, read his Kitchen Confidential because I was a big fan of his. Well, I'm still a big fan of his. Right, rest in peace. Watching his shows, No Reservations, and all these other really cool shows that like it showcased the world and through food and cultures, and I really enjoyed that kind of stuff. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna read this book, but I had never read it. Had been sitting, in my closet for decades, and my brother's all like, no, you know what, I got out of that whole social media thing because it's really it just takes away your time, and time is so precious. It really is, that and health. And he's all like, I got back into reading and this and the stuff. And like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. And I've been reading a little bit. I just got through the preface of this book. And I was like, wow, this is so cool. I remember back in the times when I used to read, like, back in I think the last series I read was like the Harry Potter books. And I was just enthralled, just turning and turning and turning. And honestly, I'd rather do that. So these people that are just trying to sell you, all they're basically doing is just aggregating shit from all over the place. Right, and then just spinning it with like telling you, informing you of how biased it is like for what? For what? These are topics are probably things that are way above anything that I have any influence in or I could do anything. So basically, the whole gist of the video is try to cut off all the crap that just doesn't fulfill or doesn't is not integral to your life. Dedicate, speak to your family. Call your mom. Call your dad. Your brother and sister. Your friends. Things that are more valuable in this life. Work on your health. Work on your nutrition. Work on their car. Hey, maybe you need to repair your car or or give it a good clean. So many other things you can do with it. Just sit there, either in front of your computer or on your phone, and these things just drain so much of your time. And I'm not saying don't use it or not all the time, or not at any time at all. But yeah, sure, just be very mindful that these things just take away from your life. And I honestly think you only live once, and time is very, very precious. So with that in mind, we're gonna cut it here. That's basically all that I wanted to tell you guys. So see you in the next one.